reporting. Now, Democrats there have ruled that city for 3 decades. 8 straight Democrats have served as mayor. It's a one-party town. Crime is spiraling out of control. In fact, violent crime is up by 30% in the past 3 years. In February, the Downtown Seattle Business Association openly worried that the city, quote, could be ruined by drugs, random attacks, shootings, and homelessness. But that didn't stop the Democratic mayor of Seattle, Jenny Durkan, from, well, ceding, 6 city blocks, the main part of Seattle, to literally a collection of anarchists, radicals, socialists, and other so-called protesters. She let them take over parts of an entire city, including a police precinct. We saw them burn down in New York and other cities, and literally all law enforcement were kicked out. Now, she allowed them to wall off an entire area, basically commandeer it, take it over, and prevent stores from conducting their business and protecting American business owners and workers. She let them literally light fires, breaking into the buildings, and spray paint nearly every surface with graffiti. She said, oh, well, how long is this going to go on? Oh, she said it might be a whole summer of love with a lot of potluck spaghetti dinners. Right, Mayor? This is what you said, right?
How long do you think Seattle in those few blocks looks like this?
I don't know. We could have the summer of love.
Well, tell that to the police who was supposed to be in that precinct.
Multiple media outlets also referring to this lawless area, as a festive zone, even as the anarchists themselves, well, telling the media, fake news, CNN, MSDNC, while they're live on the air, this is not a festive zone. They still reported it as a festive zone. Didn't look too festive over the weekend. Multiple people shot in the so-called festive zone. We told you on this show this is not going to end well. We have been warning all. We must protect every American. We have got to have law and order. We've got to stop the assault on police. Now, we're headed now towards 900 injured police officers with rocks and bricks and bottles and Molotov cocktails, and some have died. And on top of some dying, we have the guy in Vegas, a cop shot, and is now paralyzed from the neck down for the rest of his life. And then the looting, the arson, it's got to stop. The media also needs to stop lying and say it's a festive zone when it's not a festive zone. Now, there were peaceful protesters. Everyone was unanimous on the George Floyd case. There was very little disagreement. That can't happen in this country. In one instance, we had police desperately trying to get to the scene of the shooting in the festive zone, autonomous zone, but they were blocked in Seattle by angry individuals. Watch this.
Please move out of the way so we can get to the victim. All we're trying to do is get to the victim and provide the name. Please allow us to get fire into the area to provide the name.
Mayor Durkan, what happened to your summer of love? Where are you? Where's Governor Inslee? This is your state. The president has been begging both of you to accept his help. Just like Comrade de Blasio and Governor Cuomo offered help again and again, just like Chicago, just like Illinois. President offering help to everybody. Oh, we don't want any help. We can handle this. Well, it didn't work out too well, and that was highly predictable. Mayor Durkan, finally tonight, just breaking, all of a sudden wants to wind down the summer of love in the CHOP zone and the Chaz zone. Really? No more summer of love, Mayor? All told, 1 person killed, 2 others gravely injured during this weekend's violence in the so-called, Capitol Hill occupied protest, or CHOP, as one business owner put it, quote, CHOP destroyed the neighborhood. It made everyone there feel unsafe. And as you can see, Mayor Durkan, your wind down is a little too late. And we're going to see the same thing in nearly every major liberal state. We must, for the safety and security of all Americans, restore law and restore order. Now, these Democratic governors and mayors have buddy. Oh, we don't want any help. We can handle this. Well, it didn't work out too well, and that was highly predictable. Mayor Durkan, finally tonight, just breaking, all of a sudden wants to wind down the summer of love in the CHOP zone and the Chaz zone. Really? No more summer of love, Mayor? All told, 1 person killed, 2 others gravely injured during this weekend's violence in the so-called, Capitol Hill occupied protest, or CHOP, as one business owner put it, quote, CHOP destroyed the neighborhood. It made everyone there feel unsafe. And as you can see, Mayor Durkan, your wind down is a little too late. And we're going to see the same thing in nearly every major liberal city. We must, for the safety and security of all Americans, restore law and restore order. Now, these Democratic governors and mayors have refused to do so. Let's go to Chicago as an example. That's been ruled by Democrats now and mayors, Democratic mayors since 1933. Want to know why it's a mess? There you go. City's government's soft on crime approach has led to a seemingly never-ending wave of violence. Over the weekend, this past weekend, 104 our fellow Americans were shot, including 12 children. 14 people died this weekend. It's kind of like, well, just a little bit above average in Chicago. They do nothing to save that city and the people, keep them safe and secure, even in their own homes. Never mind the dilapidated, broken down, corrupt school system where kids don't learn reading, writing, and math. In New York City, Comrade de Blasio, 2 terms in office. Well, guess what? He wrecked a once peaceful city that he inherited. His anti-police, soft-on-crime policies, along with Cuomo's get-out-of-jail-free, no-bail reform, is destroying not only New York City, but New York State. And they stand by their stupidity, just like they were awful on coronavirus. Look at New York City. Shootings up a whopping 358% over last year. Just this weekend, New York City, 28 separate shootings, 38 victims. Now think, do you know the names of any of our fellow Americans in Chicago, Seattle, New York? Do you know the names of those individuals shot, those kids that were shot, those people that died? No, the media barely reports it. Minneapolis, where a Democrat has been mayor since 1978, also violence spiraling out of control. Again, at least there, the president did get an opportunity to go in and help stop the violence in Minneapolis. Before the pandemic, serious crimes were up by 70%. Of course, now, after the city council has now vowed to dismantle the
What about
entire
Wells
police
Fargo Bank?
department,
It got robbed.
guess what? 7 police officers announced their resignation. Violent crime has ensued. In just one shooting over the weekend, 11 people are injured there, 1 dead there. Again, our fellow Americans. This isn't just a failure of leadership on the state and local level. Nationally, top Democrats, they have turned a blind eye to violent crime for decades. Joe Biden, okay, Joe, you're going to lecture everybody, and Terry McAuliffe, I'm fine with Joe in the basement. He only sees 2 people a day. It's 2 people. That's all he sees, and they're his body men. I'm fine. Leave him there. He's been in politics 51 years, Joe. What did you do after Ferguson? What did you do after Baltimore? What did you do after Cambridge? Nothing. Speaker Pelosi, wow, she's been in politics 44 years. Senior Senator from California, Dianne Feinstein, has been, a public office now for over 3 decades. Maxine Waters has held office since 1976. Patrick Leahy, he's been in the U.S. Senate a whopping 45 years. What have they done? These Democrats all claim to care about America's inner cities. What have they done decade after decade after decade? Every 2 years, every 4 years, what do we hear? Conservatives are racist. They are sexist, misogynist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic. They want dirty air and water, and they want to kill children and want to throw grandma and grandpa over a cliff. It's the same playbook by the Democrats every 2 and 4 years. It's not true, because under Donald Trump's leadership, record after record low unemployment. African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, women in the workplace, youth unemployment, and African American youth unemployment. Didn't happen under Barack and Joe when they had 8 years. They had 13 million more Americans on food stamps, 8 million more in poverty, and the lowest labor participation rate since the 70s. They've been more focused on expanding power and the scope of government over freedom and the lives of law-abiding Americans who are not being protected in our cities. Women and children and moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas, while they've been coddling criminals in these big cities, letting criminals out, sanctuary cities, sanctuary states, and wreaking havoc on America's streets. Rule 101, if you want to live free, you need law and you need order and you need safety and you need security for the American people. That's a simple Hannity rule I think all Americans can agree on.
Yes.
And the next thing, let's fix America's broken, dilapidated, frankly, what is a despicable amount of money we spend more per capita than any other industrialized nation on education with the worst results. How is that possible? How is it possible in the city of Baltimore, 3rd highest per capita spending on students in the entire world, and guess what? There are 13 public high schools, not one kid is proficient in math. Not one. The veil has now been lifted. Socialism is on the ballot. Safety and security is on the ballot. And certainly a dilapidated school system is on the ballot, and Donald Trump's record of success versus Biden's record of failure in 50 years in politics, that's on the ballot in 134 days. Which America do you choose? Because this is now the biggest choice election in the history of the country. But I don't want to go too hyperbolic on this. Make no mistake. Socialism, it's radicalism. It is the one philosophy that has been tried, one incarnation after another, worldwide. It has failed again and again and again. Every time they try it, no matter how they try to sell it, it all ends up in failure, power for the state, and the people end up in poverty. Otherwise, Venezuela would be the richest country on earth. That is what is at stake for this country in 134 days. In other words, if they actually implement their new Green Deal, get rid of oil and gas, and make everything free, it's going to fail. It is mathematically impossible to actually do what they say they're going to do. Will we triumph or will we fail? We will fail, and America will become unrecognizable. Well, in about 40-some-odd days, I have it all laid out in my book. Live Free or Die, America and the World on the Brink, and that is now, well, out August 4th, but that is on the ballot in 134 days. America is and has been great for a reason. Not perfect, great. It's built on principles, freedom, rugged individualism, self-sufficiency. Democrats, they now want to fundamentally rip out those core principles, and it's up to you, the people. I'm only one little vote in New York. I can't vote more than once. I do it legally. I do it the right way. But you know what? Sanctuary cities, sanctuary states, border policies. If you believe everything's going to be free, well, just look at Chicago. Look at Illinois. Look at New York City. Look at New York State. Look at New Jersey. Look at California and tell me you want that to be America, because that's what America will become. Otherwise, this country will never be the same again, is my prediction. They win, guess what? This country will be unrecognizable if these plans are ever implemented. What we are seeing, what we're witnessing in these cities, we will see nationwide. Here with reaction, Fox News contributor Dan Bongino.